program. Do you like to talk about your favorite bands with your friends? Yeah, well, me too. Tune in every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. to hear us do just that. Only on our station, Radio Free Radio, RadioFradio.com.
Take 15. It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. Yeah. It's the crazy, 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 crazy show. That's what it is. Okay, whatever. I can't.
Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Let's get it on. Who are these guys? It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Good evening, Internet.
And I can hear me. Hey, what's going on, people? It's the Terrell Show. Welcome to the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. We're trying to get George straight. Oh, he's straight. There he goes.
I act like I've never used a microphone before, right? And decided to ignore
There's this thing called
on. Yeah, it's got a switch on it.
Jeff's
all right, you are
up.
listening to the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show on Radio Free Radio, RadioFradio.com. My name is George.
And I'm Terrell K. Mercer. And today it's my birthday.
It's Terrell's birthday. How many years young are you, Batman?
I am thankfully 41, dude.
Congratulations to you, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Congratulations.
It's a blessing.
You know what we should tell them about your little genealogy experiment and what you learned?
Yo, this is so crazy. I don't know many of you like I have like this thing with like I'm crazy about one of our local poets by the name of Madeline Garcia, because for those who don't know that I am actually part Dominican and all that good stuff, and but my grandfather and them, they really didn't deal with that part of the family and everything, and they kind of cut everything off. Well, messing around on Facebook, I've recently met some of my family via Facebook, and like I said, my grandfather and them, her father, they decided to cut themselves off and try to blend in. Let's be American. We're going to cut off from the language and everything. We're going to just blend in. We're just regular Black Americans, yada yada yada. Well, long story short, come to find out, my family's real last name is Mendez.
And for those of you who don't know, that is my last name. So we must have some sort of connection, probably way Indeed. Back when.
In the words of
I'm going to pretend we used to be royalty.
Yeah, in the words of
royal family.
In the words of Rhonda Leverson, confirmation.
And we are here today with our very special guest, Mr. Nathan Richardson.
The OG of poetry.
What's going on, Nathan?
OG.
I think the first times I've heard that, I'm starting to believe it.
The golly G.
Yeah, the golly, the OMG.
How are you, brother? Thank you for being here today.
Fine. I'm wonderful today.
Good.
It's been a great day.
Yeah, all right, truly absolutely. A great day.
Glad to be here.
Thunderstorms and all.
Yeah, on Terrell's birthday at that.
I know, right?
Terrell's
like
a pretty private person
when I hit Nathan up, I was like, "That's my birthday." Like, you can't tell me no.
That's what's up.
And I didn't. I'm here.
Word.
In the flesh.
My birthday happens to fall on an open mic night this year.
Oh, word. Oh, that's going to be bananas.
I know.
Yeah, that's.
And I share a birthday with Dee Dee, so that's going to be even crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
So
what famous people are born on your birthday?
Don't know. Never really look.
Don't care, right?
Never. People be like, "You're such a Cancer." I'm like, I do not have cancer. I don't really, like I said, I don't really make a big deal about my birthday, but I'm thankful to see another year.
Absolutely.
But I just don't go like, yeah, it's my birthday, I'm gonna celebrate all month. I will be celebrating tomorrow night at Arts Out Loud, though.
I, on the other hand, do make a big deal about my birthday, and I do celebrate all month long.
I honestly thought your birthday was Halloween when we first met.
Wish.
I was like, yo, this dude has it made.
That would have just been perfect, but it didn't quite happen that way. But we are here with Nathan Richardson, and Nate, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with TWP?
Well, I've been working with TWP, the Teens with a Purpose, the movement. It's a peer-led organization that's been in effect for 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. We're coming up on the big 2-0. And I've been with the organization for most of that time. And working, driving,
Yeah.
hauling stuff, hauling kids around the neighborhood, but primarily as the poetry coach for the Hampton Roads Youth Poets.
Right. How did TWP come about?
Well,
Whose
it was
brainchild was
yeah,
this?
it was the brainchild of Deidre Love,
Okay.
who is the founder,
And if we're lucky enough, she may be joining us later via
aka
radio,
Mama
telephone.
D, aka Venus.
Yes.
And she was running the organization out of church downtown Norfolk, and had this vision of having a peer-led organization. And from that, it started to grow. And the subject matter that they took on outgrew the church because they wanted to address real issues that are affecting teens in the community, like HIV, drugs, gun violence, all these sorts of things. And so it just was natural that she would outgrow the confines of the church and come out into the community and establish an organization that has become recognized throughout
staple
the country.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Now, exactly how did you get involved with Teens with a Purpose?
Well, I knew Venus. She used to come out when Seneca Lofton and I were doing an open mic over in Chesapeake, Kempsfield Road. Yeah, Seneca Lofton, my homeboy from way back, and we were doing an open mic over there called the Java Junction, called open mic every Wednesday, and she came through, and she's actually a great poet.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, Venus is a great poet, and so she spit a couple of poems, and we struck up a friendship, and she invited me over, and I just been stuck with it ever since then. I just never left the organization. Always been there. Primarily on Monday nights. On Monday nights, just when we open the doors up and let introduce new teens to the community, and I'm there every single Monday night. And right now, we're in the middle of slam season for Brave New Voices, and so I'm there a lot more. Yeah.
For people who are listening that may not know what Brave New Voices is, why don't you tell them what that is?
Yeah, sure. Well, like I was saying, TWP is made up of various components.
Okay.
Music, dance, poetry. And so music is, that part of the group is called Music Made Simple. The poetry group is the Hampton Roads Youth Poets. And so we compete. One of the things we do, besides all the activism, is we compete in an international poetry slam organized by a West Coast organization called Youth Speaks.
Okay.
And they do this every year. They're actually coming up on their 20th anniversary.
Wow.
And so they hold the International Poetry Slam at various locations throughout the country. They started out on the West Coast. They've done Chicago, Atlanta, Philly. This year, Brave New Voices is in D.C., so it's right around the corner. Everybody, 3-hour drive, you're right there. George Washington, campus of George Washington University. You can come check out literally young poets from all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's basically about 35 to 40 states that are being represented by groups of teens from 13 to 19 years old, 5 to 6 man teams, and then they've got countries participating too.
Oh wow.
Canada, Guam, South Africa, Leeds, England. Yeah,
it's a much bigger thing than a lot of people realize. Like,
absolutely.
It's like the
Grand Slam. I remember Grand Slam, San Francisco, Fox Theater, 5,000 people.
Wow.
At a poetry slam. Yeah,
That's crazy.
wow.
Just ridiculous.
Man, I can only imagine the energy in a room of 5,000 poetry fans.
Talk for like 3 days. My voice was done.
Wow.
He was done.
I can imagine. And these poets, they're teens, but
Dope.
their work will rival any adult poet. These kids are phenomenal writers. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now, what is it like when you actually watch someone mature as a poet? When they start out with you guys, they come to you,
right,
and they're like, okay, I'm a poet, and it's like they go from a
very
cat,
timid, scared to do their stuff,
So
is this good to just brave, give me the mic, I'm gonna rip it up. Yeah, it is. It is very, very exciting. Real good feeling to see them grow as poets, but not only as poets, but as human beings.
Definitely, yeah.
And that's one of the models of TWP is that we're not just spitting pretty words. We definitely have a model where we are actually activists. We develop activists and people rather than just poets. And so the poetry that they speak, they go out into the community. We do the Hello Tour every Monday evening where we go and just all the neighborhoods. We just knock on the door. Hello.
Yeah.
And we got a poem for you, and we got some fresh vegetables.
Word.
And spit. And so and then they go to all sorts of community centers and spit for other kids and show them what they can do, and ask them to challenge their potential. And so that's really the meat of it.
It's so much more effective too when that comes from your peers.
Yeah.
When it's teens showing other teens.
Peer led. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not there, I'm not there as the OG, saying, we used to like spit poems. We had to walk 5 miles to spit a poem. No, I don't. No, that's
uphill both ways
in the snow.
In the snow.
No, I actually, just I'm there. The presence for maybe some people who are not familiar with that kind of presence,
right?
Yeah,
and dedication. And so I'm there. If they have a question for me, if they, they're smart kids.
Yes,
smart kids. So it's pure led, and I'm only interjecting when I'm asked, or if I see somebody might be veering off, and then I input all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Now, when you mean veering off, what do you mean?
When I mean veering off, I mean something unforeseen. And I tell you what, this is something that we learned from Bobby Seale. We were in San Francisco. I think this was like 2011. Bobby Seale, co-founder of the Black Panther movement, and he came to speak to the kids opening ceremony. Youth Speaks, and he stood there on the lawn of UC Berkeley and gave like a speech for like 45 minutes, dead silence, paying attention. And he didn't come at them like, oh, gee, I know what to tell you, what to do about this thing. What he said was, this is your movement. This is your future. And I've been through some stuff. And so if you got questions for me, I'm here. My role is not to tell you what to do about your future, but for you to make up your mind and for me to do the things that you can't do. So if you want to do a movement and you don't have, you're not of age to sign the dotted line, to go out on the street, I'm gonna sign the dotted line for you. That kind of thing. So we're, Deidre Love, the adults, the adult peer mentors, we're just the facilitators for the creativity that the kids have, and they make up their ideas on how they want to do that, and they got a lot of stuff they do.
I think too often we underestimate the minds and the potential of our youth. It's like almost like we get to a point where we forget that we were younger,
right?
And I've never understood that mentality. And I'll see, like, I have this one cousin that she just goes on these tangents on Facebook, and I'm just like, do you realize how you sound? But I never stop her. Right. I never like put her on blast. Like I'll go to her inbox and say, okay, cuz, I get your passion. I get where you're coming from, but let's look at this from a different perspective. But I'm not going to knock you in front. And everybody's like, you should know better. You go to college. And I'm like, yo, let her express herself. Let her get this out how she knows how. All we can do is, even if you know better, your better may not be her better.
True. Right.
So,
yeah. Well, I'm definitely a defender of the potential of young people, because you hear a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
And there is some negative stuff out there. But of course, especially when it comes to the news, if it bleeds, it leads. And so what I get from youth, and I have a rant upon youth who are coming out the gate writing misogynistic rap. They just don't come out the gate like that.
Right.
Unless they just have had no leadership whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just trying to copy some dude,
Mhm.
whatever. But most of the time, if you get a chance, if you're so privileged to peek into those notebooks, you know, you're gonna find truth. You're gonna find true stories. And so it's not until, you know, somebody shows them the cash that they start flipping.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
At some point, when the money gets involved in art, and this is kind of like the conversation we were having before we went on air about art as competition. When money gets involved,
right,
you start to tailor the art based on what's going to bring you the most amount of capital.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's when selling out happens in any genre, whether you're talking about poetry, music, whatever the case. It's very rare to see an artist who stays consistently themselves throughout their career.
Right. Exactly.
I think the greatest thing that you probably heard me say this before that sticks out when you say that is something that Tupac said. Tupac did his first CD, and he said, when I did my first CD, if you notice, each song was a different character. He said, and I wanted to see which character people gravitated towards the most. And that was the character I was going to become, because that was going to be the one that was going to line my pockets.
Right. Yeah.
And that was what he said. And people got to remember, he did go to the School of the Arts for acting.
Yeah.
So you're pretty involved in slam. Do you see any of that in the? I know at HRYP you guys really focus on telling truth in your stories,
right?
But you see a lot of competitors. Do you ever see those pieces that you can tell were tailored for the slam?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one thing we try to do, of course, you know, poets, they're going to go out there. There are a million Brave New Voices videos out there. There are a million Louder Than a Bomb videos. And you know, we tell our poets, go there, get a taste of it. But we try to make sure that they, you know, stay true to themselves. If you are a certain type of writer, you don't want to start trying to copy other people.
Yeah.
You know, and their language. Even if it's, you know, we have an innocent kid coming in writing stories about his situation, about finding his sexual identity or whatever. And then the next thing you know, he starts tuning in to these types of videos. And the next thing you know, he comes in with this poem and he's trying to imitate somebody else. And we're like, you know, and so that's what I was talking about stepping in and saying, yeah, you might be going off track right here.
That's not you.
Because you don't sound authentic. That's not your language, you know.
And I think that ultimately will come across.
Right.
You know, people can tell when it's not.
Yeah.
When it's not genuine.
So they've inspired me to so much creativity myself. They've taught me how to communicate with my own kids better. You know, when I started, my kids were young.
Yeah.
You know, and so just being around them helped me to understand my kids better and that sort of thing. So, you know, one of the things they taught me, activism. Activism is when you stop talking and do something that gives someone without a voice the chance to speak.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm all the time at events where people are dialoguing about this issue, that issue. And I remember being near Petersburg, and they're talking about this issue of police brutality. And this basically, you know, first of all, as the MC, I'm saying, when I get there, I want 10 kids in the audience, right? Well, there only ended up being one, right? But throughout that conversation, everybody's talking. Nobody's asked the 17-year-old what he thinks about it. Now, I mean, it's like you are, you know how it is when you get sick, you know, and you're in bed and you can't talk and everybody's sitting around the bed talking about you.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that. So I'm like, hey, you have a 17-year-old kid right here. You're talking about youth issues, but you ain't asked the one who knows about it. Right. So let's stop talking and see what this young man's got to say. Right. So yeah. That's what it's all about.
It's so important. I think, like you said, at some point we forget that we were kids at one point too. We were teenagers with very complicated sense of emotions going on at any given point. And we tend to, I don't know, as adults, I think we tend to take away a child's justification I kind of grew up in the household of you don't speak unless spoken to.
Right.
You don't have nothing to say unless I tell you you have something to say.
Yeah.
So when
did,
I finally
did we grew up in the same household or something?
we must have.
Yeah.
We must have. But and that can be so stifling, especially to a creative person. So you write it all down. And I remember when I first started doing spoken word, my only references were what you see on YouTube. So you see the videos,
Right.
and I thought it had to be A, loud.
Right.
B, I thought it had to be indignant.
Right.
And
Right.
I thought it had to be long.
Right.
Yeah.
But you learn.
Sure.
There's tales being told of Michelle Dodd.
Right. Michelle.
Competing in a slam
Yeah.
and winning a round with a haiku.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Michelle came through
Michelle's
HRYP.
yeah, she's
Went on to Richmond Slam.
uh-huh.
Now it's adult slam team.
Yeah, she just competed in Southern Fried recently. Shout out to Michelle.
Love her. Shout out.
Writers Den up in Richmond.
That's right.
Slam Richmond Poets.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can take a quick break and cut to a song. What we got up, Justin? Where's my notebook? I am fully unprepared. Our first track. How appropriate. I'm a Writer by Marco Mercado.
And actually, real quickly before
What's
we go to break, listener Rick says happy birthday, Terrell.
Thanks,
He's
Rick.
listening, and he chimed in on the YouTube chat, so I just wanted to share his wishes.
Appreciate that, Rick.
First off, I'm not an Asian American, Latino American, or Italian American writer. I'm just a writer / spoken word artist, or whatever you want to call this that I do. And if you want to categorize, then categorize me with the greats, even though my first album hasn't even been made. And I don't have any published poems. Plus, I don't even know where most of my poems are. They're probably crumbled at the bottom of my book bag or underneath my bed. But some are stored in the Rolodex in the back of my head when a pen wasn't available. A couple months ago, I performed at Georgetown University, and colleges asked me how much for my fees. I told them to make a check payable to their community, because between all of y'all and me, I would always do this for free. Find me a way to get there and I will be there. And if I have a place to stay, I will stay the night. See, the reason I'm loud at open mics is because I'm real quiet at organizational meetings and keeping to myself and thinking, well, anybody notice if I steal me a piece of chicken? Or damn, shorty's fine, let me creep up from behind. Yo, what's up, mom? My name is Marco, but my friends call me Jesus, but you can call me the Don Juan Dumar. Come on now. Imagine if I really thought like that. Like if my life was really based on getting ass, and the only reason I associated with organizations to waste time before class. Yeah, right. The revolution is in my blood and I can't do anything about it. Way before spoken word poetry, I was always about it. I never was for change. I was always a part of the change, and now I work with the team that's a part of the game, while many criticize from the sidelines. But I ain't worried about them, because small minds talk about people, great minds discuss ideas, and I have plans and ideas in the process. Be part of the progress. I manifest through it all, even during my downfalls. I stick to my word and my balls, whether I'm performing in front of an audience or in front of my walls. I give it my all, even though I know words cannot change people. It is up to them, the people, to start changing and start doing. And what I'm gonna start doing is start doing and stop talking.
Yeah.
Lobotomized.
You don't wanna be like me. 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 Gotta stay strapped to the teeth like me. You ever been homeless in the street like me? You think I had to hustle to put J's on my feet? Boy, I had to struggle just to stay on my feet. Trust me, you don't wanna be like me. Pimp, sell drugs, and rob like me. Got 2 daughters, no job like me. If you go to school and drop out like me, hope the bitch that you fucking put you out like me. Get your homeboy house on the couch like me. You ain't tryna turn out like me. You don't wanna be like me. Wanna go to jail like me. You don't wanna see that hell like me. Hope your baby mama post bail like me. Get shot like me. You ain't tryna hit the block like me. You might wanna Glock like me. Watch like me till you watching for the cops like me. Oh, you wanna go hard like me. Sleep in the motherfucking car like me. Have your whole life fall apart like me. Not even knowing where to start like me. You You don't wanna be like me. All your best friends doing time like me. Matter of fact, either dead or they dying like V. You don't wanna live a life of crime like me. You don't wanna watch your back like me. You don't wanna sell crack like me. Hope you don't shoot your ass back like me. If you do, dumb bitch, then act like me. You don't wanna take a life like me, or lose your first wife like me. Tryna outrun blue lights like me, and when it comes around, pay the price like me. You don't wanna be like me, searching for a little bit of hope like me. Up all night selling dope like me, no sleep, getting rich, then broke like me. Don't be dumb like me. You don't wanna go on the run like me. You don't wanna live by the gun like me. Get pale, never see the sun like me. You don't wanna be like me. Can't live without a drink like me. Tattoos all prison ink like me. Shit, you don't even wanna think like me. You don't wanna feel void like me. Wanna be paranoid like me. Get played with like a toy like me. Then you don't wanna have a little boy like me. You don't wanna be 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 like me.
That's sexy.
And we are back.
Oh,
Internet, you are listening to the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show with George and
Terrell.
the birthday boy.
Yeah.
We would like to draw your attention to our Patreon page, where for just $1 a month, you get full access to our complete archive. Radio Free Radio has also recently launched their YouTube channel, where you can watch as we broadcast live on air.
And look at the back of
the
Jeff's
Radio
head.
Free Radio channel. And yeah, look at the backs of our heads for the most part. What else we got going on? Next week we will be having a roundtable discussion on the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. Joining us for the roundtable will be Darrell E.S. Clark and Marquita Bianca.
And who knows who else?
Yeah, the lines will be open. The phone number is 757-848-5920. Call in and join us with the discussion next week. Call in the next half hour and have a question for Nate. We are kicking it with organizer, founder, co-founder, writer, actor, activist. Just many feathers in this hat of his.
He's a big hat.
That's a lot to live up. Man.
Speaking of,
and also
yes,
the cousin of my barber,
the cousin of his barber.
Oh yeah, Bruce, right? Bruce, yeah.
That's funny.
I know it's crazy because Bruce would be like, man, you know this dude named Nathan. I don't know Nathan. Nathan what? Nathan Richardson. That's my cousin. He do poetry too. Don't know. Come to find out, Nathan actually live like pretty much around the corner from one another.
Right.
Oh wow.
Exactly. You live in the neighborhood where I used to live.
Yeah.
I used to live on Cedar Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Small world.
Small world and big
Small world. It's fun. Speaking of small world, I had a guy in my workshop yesterday named Richard. Real cool guy, really good writer. But he says he used to work for me at Food Line back in 1999.
Wow.
God help me, I don't remember. But I mean, I've been in the business for 20 years, so I've seen a lot of people
He's
come
been
and
in
go.
business for 20 years.
20 years.
20 years I've been doing this, son.
God help me. 20 years. I don't. I'm trapped. I'm trapped, man.
No, man, you're holding down. You're representing well.
I guess
you're what our kids are trying to aspire to be. You know, what I really hope, because there are so many great open mics, you know, in the community, is that we're generating poets who are coming out who really believe in poetry, who are supportive of each other, you know, because as long as Hampton Roads has been kicking it, from way back when we're doing, Urban Safari, Queen Sheba, all those cats.
Shout out to Queen Sheba.
Yeah. The energy collective, we could have accomplished more. I believe we could have accomplished more with a more collective mindset.
Yeah.
And I see that generating now.
Yeah.
I see that generating now in a unique way, because I have conversations off the mic
Right.
that are very, very promising. And so the guys like you guys, what you guys are doing, I can like just pass the torch, man. I can go home, sit on my porch, man, read Frederick Douglass.
Speaking of
Frederick
which,
Douglass.
that's how you make a segue.
I know, right?
there. Speaking of many feathers in your hat, you got one of them labeled Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this. It's a one-act play. It's a one-man play. It's just you, correct?
Right. It's a portrayal of Frederick Douglass, a great orator, writer, abolitionist, former slave, and stepped into it very, very reluctantly. Was hard-headed. I said, I got poems, man. I got my poems. I ain't trying to be nobody else.
I know, right? So someone else wrote this piece?
No, actually, I was just doing my poetry, and of course, I published Likeness of Being, my CD, Nathan Live at Langley, all this kind of stuff, and was teaching, freelance teaching, and that sort of thing. And then I was challenged by a friend of mine who's a storyteller to do a historical Black character. And I turned it down, and then they came back a year later and said, you really ought to think about this. This is something that could be something big. And so I looked at a couple of different people. I looked at Booker T. Washington, so forth, so on, and then landed on Frederick Douglass when I realized what a great writer he was, how poetic his content was. He's actually a poet. And then started realizing that basically somebody up above was grooming me for this. All the things I had been doing in my life and my career was setting me up for this opportunity. It's like preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
And so since I decided to take it wholeheartedly and put on a wig, it's just been a real tremendous experience.
How long have you? Because you kind of bring it back year after year, right?
Yeah. Well,
How long have you been?
I've been doing it 2.5 years.
Okay.
First year I was just trying, and I would go on. I learned one of his speeches, right? And I would go on stage and I would do the speech, and then the more I started reading about him, I said, well, if I'm going to do a character like this, I have to do it with total respect,
really
and dedication,
right?
And so that's when I started really, getting all the material, the syllabus, reading, studying, going into what his intent in life was, first of all, and then started, memorizing the speeches and stuff like that. I had already been listening. I'm a big fan of public radio, listen to WHRO all the time. And so for about 3 years prior to that, I had been listening to Clay Jenkinson do Thomas Jefferson. And so he has this format where he comes on as Thomas Jefferson. He speaks as Thomas Jefferson. He talks about his life and time. Then he opens up the mic to the audience to ask questions. So he takes down the third wall of the stage. The fourth wall, and you're engaging. And
he responds as Jefferson.
As Jefferson.
So that's what I do. What I do. My first part is, Douglass.
Yeah.
And then the second part is taking questions, and so that's the scary part,
right? Because you really have to know your stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So what is it like getting into the mind of Frederick Douglass?
Wow, it's incredible because he's such an incredible guy, visionary. Speeches, his Haiti speech, word for word, is applicable in the 21st century. Like fortune teller almost,
right?
And has so much to say, and the questions I'm taking now, as it relates to what's happening in the 21st century, how that relates to the 19th century, and those things. Very misunderstood guy too. Very misunderstood guy. I'm sure you're familiar with, a lot of people actually, Republicans, conservatives, I'll say Republicans want to own Frederick Douglass. Although he was a Republican at that time, of course.
But then again, people got to remember the Republicans then were different than what they are now.
Normally when somebody says that to me, I say, well, if you can tell me what a Dixiecrat is, then you might know what you're talking about.
Jeff looked up like, I know.
And so, that kind of ends the conversation.
So, this is just me and me knowing what little I know about Frederick Douglass and knowing you'll know a lot more than I do. Do you feel when it comes to quote unquote the founders and quote unquote black leaders, do you think that he's too often overlooked as far as what he did for blacks in America?
I think he's coming around. We do have a tendency to just pick and choose, the most obvious
Martin,
Malcolm, all that kind of stuff. And as well as with the women, and that's true in poetry too. You ask a poet, what's your favorite poet? Maya Angelou.
Right.
It's like the go-to, when they're ignoring so many
mine
fabulous.
Mine is Phyllis Wheatley.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, Frederick Douglass is becoming more known. I think it's his time. I think it's his time, and has a lot to do with the 21 performances I've already done this year.
21 performances.
Yeah, 4 performances already scheduled for 17. So I think the timing is kind of right.
Yeah.
And he's being scooped up into social media. There's this video out there now, battle with George Washington and Frederick Douglass.
They have a rap battle.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's got like about 4 million views.
Wow!
I only got like 5, but they got 4 million views. Yeah. But
was there anything in particular that you found surprising when you started doing your research about Frederick Douglass?
Well, I knew about Frederick Douglass. I knew that he, was he accomplished all those things. He was the first African American to be nominated as a vice presidential candidate by the state of Kentucky, along with Victoria Woodhull, who was the first female.
Now, quick question. Yeah. So while you're on that, is it true that he actually did not accept or he didn't know that he was nominated?
You